That polar bear smells that man's meat. That's why he's doing this.
Let's go, boys. It's the Meatlock. You see the text, and we're trying to make it 4 in a row. It was another easy light work Meatlock dub for the boys last week. Thanks a lot, Aaron Blanchfield. And we're trying to remain in the green, and it's a Meatlock dog in this one. It's the main event, the meat event, Ciryl Gane taking on the polar bear, Sergey Spivac, who is a plus 140 dog, but we have seen enough out of Spivac to be confident in him as a Meatlock dog against Bonga Min, who, while yes, we know he's one of the most lethal strikers in the division, he seemingly struggled very mightily against John Jones. And by no accounts are we saying that Sergey Spivac is John Jones, but I know you're going to touch on it a little bit later. Spivac was what you called him an absolute prodigy of a grappler, and he's been kind of just ragdolling guys start to finish. So if the blueprint is out on Ciryl Gane in the sense that this dude can't stuff a takedown, and when you get a hold of him, he's going to absolutely smash you, Sergey Spivac is a guy who is very likely to do just that. And he's on a nice 3-fight win streak. He's won 6 of 7. His only losses to Tom Aspinall, and Tom Aspinall is very dangerous on the feet, but he also has that back pocket of jiu-jitsu and grappling to where Spivac was unable to get his game plan going against him and got slept as a result. But when you're dealing with Ciryl Gane, who is essentially like the wonder boy of heavyweight, he's very one-dimensional, and if you take him down and don't let him get up like Kevin Holland did, then you're likely going to smash him. So what are your thoughts on this Meatlock? Do you think Spivac makes easy, light work, or is this going to be a little bit longer of a contest than some are seeing, and Spivac has to really grit it out before he gets a finish? How's he get it done?
You know, like you said, Spivac's been absolutely ragdolling people ever since his Aspinall loss. I mean, the kid's 28. He's an absolute savage. Polar bear is a perfect name for him. And, you know, if you look at his past, he really is a prodigy grappler. That's his bread and butter, but his striking has really come a long ways. And not just his striking, but just like all of it together, just a true mixed martial artist, not just a Ciryl Gane where he can only strike. Ciryl Gane would be one of the best kickboxers if the UFC just did kickboxing, but it's mixed martial arts. So Ciryl Gane got ragdolled by a 2-month training camp, Francis Ngannou, and he couldn't wrestle him. Like, that's kind of embarrassing. And then John Jones, we already know his pedigree in grappling, so that was light work in 10 seconds. I see this being the same thing as John Jones. I think this is going to be a ragdoll. I think this is going to be a submission or ground and pound TKO. There's no way Gane is going to be leveled up to be able to defend a polar bear. It's just not going to happen. And if he does, that's really going to blow my mind. I mean, if you can't beat Francis Ngannou's 2-month wrestling camp, there's no way you're beating, 28 years of wrestling polar bear skills that, Sergey Spivac has acquired.
Yeah, it's very true, and we once saw Khabib wrestle a bear, and in this one, Gane is probably getting wrestled by the polar bear, and it's not going to go well for him, right? Because it just hasn't been enough time since that absolute drubbing by John Jones, which was only about 6 months ago at this point. So unless he just became the GOAT grappler and has really been working on that the past 6 months, it's going to be light, easy work for our boy the polar bear. And I love that you mentioned the sub. Again, this is a Meatlock dog. We are in a minority in this one, and we're rolling with the Tapology minority, who only 29% is rolling with Sergey. Majority Copper, though, so a lot of people think that of the Spivac backers, Copper might be the submission to get it done. But 71% is going with Bonga Min. It's a lot of brown, a lot going for that KO. What is the likelihood, Meat Boy? Obviously, this is the Meatlock, but what's the likelihood that Gane catches Spivac on the way in and fulfills all that brown that Tapology is sending? And is there a strong likelihood, or is it a low likelihood, and that Copper submission Spivac is that much of a lock?
I think that Copper submission is an absolute lock, to be honest. But the odds of Ciryl Gane catching the polar bear, I just don't see it. If Derek Lewis can't catch him, how is Gane gonna catch him? That's where I'm kind of at. I don't know. This is a great fight, but I just think they're setting this up. Spivac is young. He's on a great streak. We want some new blood. I think Ciryl Gane is kind of embarrassing to the UFC for how bad he performed versus Francis, and how bad he performed versus John Jones. So they're trying to get rid of him. to BKFC, I almost guarantee Spivac is paid like 20 to show, 20 to win, and Ciryl Gane, since he was a champion, probably getting like 300K. So they want him gone. They don't want to pay such high for so much money for a fighter that is really just one-dimensional, sadly. It's really gonna blow my mind if Ciryl Gane wins this fight. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, there's just on pen and paper, and if you look at the last 3 fights, this should be easy work by Sergey Spivac. It looks like there's still some Gane fans over there in Italy, I guess. I'm really confused on the dog odds. Like, I'm loving what I'm seeing. I can't wait to take full advantage of this. And maybe we're tripping. You'll throw in the comments down below if we're tripping, but I think this is a lock nonetheless.
Yeah, lock nonetheless, and I too was surprised by all the Italian meatheads repping Ciryl Gane, maybe a couple French fans as well, and he's fighting in front of that hometown crowd, so it worked out well for him the last time he did it against Tuivasa, but in this one, we don't see him catching Sergey Spivac, and we are doing a little bit of research, like how does one catch a polar bear, and apparently you're supposed to cut a hole in the ice and line it with peas, and ultimately I don't think that Ciryl Gane has any P's, has any Q's. He's getting slept in this one. Sergey Spivac is going to put him out with either a submission or maybe a juicy ground and pound TKO. But nonetheless, in this meatlock, we're going for a 4th straight, 5 of 6. It should be 6 of 6, but Jeremiah Wells absolutely blew that one. So we're throwing down 200 to net 280. Get us the 4th in a row, keep us well in the green, and it's a meatlock dog. Any last thoughts?
No, fun fight. Throw in the comments. Are you riding with the meats or are you fading the meats? Make sure to smash me, subscribe, check out the other videos.